Twitch is not in a good state right now, right? Twitch used to be like the go-to site, right? Twitch used to have a monopoly over streaming, and you know, with the most recent events of how they laid off a good chunk of their staff, I think it's fair to say that we've reached the breaking point. I think it's fair to say that it's possibly the beginning of the end for Twitch. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying that Twitch is gonna, end up like what was that other competitor that Mixer, right? Goddamn. I'm not saying I'm not saying Twitch is gonna end up like Mixer, right? Where they're just gonna puff up in a ball of smoke and then just disappear in the annals of internet history, right? Twitch is too big of a name for that to happen to. But what I mean to say is that Twitch will not have the monopoly power that it will, and Twitch will continue to fall unless they pull their head out of their ass and just fix the site to how the way people would want it to fix, right? Now, there have been plenty of events that led Twitch to this situation, right? With their inconsistent bans, their horrible metas that they enabled. Like Twitch themselves enabled their these horrible metas that people were constantly complaining about. And now with with the most recent meta of how basically OnlyFans girls are just basically coming on naked and just putting a black bar, and then literally like 2 weeks, like Twitch has not had a good New Year. Literally the first like 2 weeks of New Year, and then they laid off like a good chunk of their staff. Right now, when layoffs happen in a corporate business, right? When layoffs happen, in my experiences, from what I've seen, right, there's literally only two reasons, it's quite possibly only two reasons why massive layoffs happen in the first place. The first reason is the corporate overlords are just greedy and want a bigger bonus. That's, as bad as that sounds, that's quite literally the truth. Like, you have to understand, this is corporate America we're dealing with, right? And with corporate America, when money's involved, anything's possible. They're not afraid to go as morally gray as they possibly can if it means getting a bigger check, right? That's corporate America, right? Now, that may not be the case. That may be the case. Who knows, right? But the second reason why massive layoffs happen is they didn't make enough money in the last year, 2 years, maybe 3. Depends on depends on how much they like what they base their like revenue, like how they could keep track of the revenue, all that. It could be the last year, last 2 years, last 3 years, but eventually the point is they didn't make enough money to warrant keeping those 500 people, right? Now, a solution to that could have been the CEO cuts his check and so that he can keep the people employed, right? One of the greatest things that happened in corporate America history. I think we all remember Satoru Iwata. Forgive me if I butchered that name. The old CEO of Nintendo, right? Rip to the goat. He cut his paycheck by I think like half when Nintendo had a really bad year and didn't make a lot of money, and he cut his check in half to keep all his employees employed, right? And to this day, I think that's probably like one of the most goated things a CEO has ever done, right? Because that's not something you see, right? Now I'm about to make a controversial take. I personally don't think it's fair to demand a CEO to cut his paycheck for everyone else, right? Because to get to the top of that ladder, he probably had to put in a lot of work to get there. Now, I'm not saying that he shouldn't do it, right? He very well can. He makes enough money to very well cut his paycheck to keep his people employed. Matter of fact, I think it's fair to say that maybe he should have done that, but I don't think it's fair to say that he should do that. I think it's fair to say that you do that. But bringing back to my point of how those are usually two reasons why the layoffs happen at massive companies, right? Now, banking on the assumption that it's not the first one where the CEO of Twitch just didn't want a bigger paycheck, banking on the fact that it's the second one where Twitch didn't make enough money, that means that Twitch is no longer the powerhouse that they were. It means that Kick and Rumble really are making a dent in the demographic of live streaming. Hell, even YouTube, right? I genuinely believe if you want to start live streaming, you might want to think twice before going to Twitch. You know, you might want to look at the other options. You know, you want to look at Rumble, Kick. You might want to, you know, take a look at your options before you go on Twitch. Twitch is notorious for their inconsistent bans, right? I understand that. In fact, I even prefer that it should be case by case, but there should be a baseline that if it's crossed, no matter who it is, it's a ban, right? It's a specific type of ban, right? Case in point, remember I think it was like a year or two, I think it was like 2 years ago. Remember that girl who got fucked on stream and she was only banned for like a day or two? Exhibit A. Like, it's things like that where, and then you go to like Alinity, right? Alinity was like the most controversial person on Twitch because she never got banned for anything she did, right? And it's things like that where it just piles on and on and on and on about what is happening with Twitch. And if we've come to this point where I think it's fair to say that unless you're already established on Twitch, right? It might be a fair point to say maybe you shouldn't stream on Twitch. Maybe you might want to go somewhere else. You know, YouTube, Kick, Rumble, you know? If you have other options, look at them, all right? And now we're here at 2024, where I think it's fair to say this might be the beginning of the end for Twitch, you know? It's not going to happen this year. It's not going to happen next year. It's not going to happen 2-3 years, in 3-4 years, right? Twitch is too big of a company to just fizzle out like that, right? Twitch is a staple name in the internet. So I'm not saying they're going to end up like Mixer or hell, even Dailymotion, you know? Twitch will forever be here, but will never be the Twitch that we remember. It'll never be like the cream of the crop, the Twitch where like if you wanted to do live streaming, it had to be on Twitch. It will never be like that again, right? And it's just it's honestly sad, right? It's sad to see where this was like Twitch was like a communal point. Like it was a place where gamers could come together, right? That's because that's what it originally was for, right? That's the biggest reason why people were angry about like all the different metas, because that's not what Twitch was for. That's not what Twitch was founded on. It's supposed to be a site for gamers, people to come on, share their live streams, share their gameplay, you know, have a community of other gamers and just play the games that they like. That was the foundation of Twitch, right? You know, esports, you know, pro gamers, mods, you know, people, gaming communities, you know, tournaments, things like that. That was what Twitch was founded on. And it's sad to see where it's like now you go on Twitch and bro, it's you could pull up Twitch and put it right beside Pornhub and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Really, you couldn't. Like the thumbnails for all the live streams, you really couldn't tell with the amount of boobs that are on Twitch now. It's insane, right? And it's just sad to see, you know. It's just sad. Twitch is in a sad state right now. So I'd say like, you know, Twitch, it's the beginning of the end for Twitch. It really is. So now the question arises of what should Twitch do, right? We've reached the breaking point. So now what should Twitch do to recover from this, right? Now, I don't have a full step-by-step plan of how they can come back from this. You know, I don't have a step, like I don't know exactly what they should do, but what I think they should do is the first foremost thing, right? Because one of the things that Twitch is very notorious for is their inconsistent bans, right? Twitch is very notorious for their inconsistent bans. So that's probably the first thing they should take care of, because the inconsistent bans and like people not understanding why people were banned or why they weren't banned is the reason why all these metas popped up in the first place. You know, the hot tub meta, I don't know what it's called, like the showing your cleavage meta until there's no nipple, like that meta, and then the black bar meta. You know, that's all. Whoops. That's all from what's it called? That's all from them not enforcing their TOS properly, right? So I think the first thing they need to do is understand their demographic and not compromise the integrity of that demographic, right? What do I mean by this? I think it's fair to say that the main demographic for Twitch is young to middle-aged adults who play video games, and that's very fair to say that that's the main demographic for Twitch, right? So what they need to understand is they cannot compromise the integrity of that demographic. They can't just allow anything and everything to happen because they want to expand their demographic. No, you have to understand that there's just things you cannot allow on your website, right? So with the bans, right? With the bans, unlike the whole like implied nudity and all that, like on Twitch, nudity and implied nudity should not even be a question. Like that should not be allowed on Twitch because that's not what Twitch is for, right? So like the first thing they need to do is probably just understand that there needs to be a baseline, right? Now I can understand that no, there should be a case, like people would argue that there should be case by case, right? For the ban situation, should be case by case. And I agree, that should be the case because, you know, you also have to take in, you know, intent, you know, was it a mistake, you know, like accidents happen, right? So I think, yes, it should be handled case by case and there should be like, you know, 3 strikes and you're out, right? I understand that should be in place, but there should be a baseline where no matter what the intent was, no matter if it was an accident, no matter if it was a mistake, right? If you cross that baseline 3 times, you are banned, right? I think that's a fair thing to say, where if you cross that baseline 3 times over a period of time, you are banned, no questions asked. And I feel like this should be fair. That should be a fair thing to say. Whereas, you know, that in and of itself will honestly probably cut all the people like starting these new metas where it's like they just push the boundaries of the TOS. I feel like that in and of itself would probably cut the bullshit and just tell people, hey, this is what Twitch is for. Don't try that shit on here. If you want to know, do your booby streams, go to a campsite. You know what I mean? So I think that's probably like the biggest thing that they should do. As for what they should do after that, not entirely sure. I think they should just see what the community wants and go and react based on that, right? Because the community is very clear on what they want. So I think that's probably what Twitch should do. But as for, you know, the future of Twitch, who knows? Right now it's not looking good unless they pull their heads out of their ass. The Twitch, I don't think the future of Twitch is looking that right.